Okay, so we've got our dehydrator, and I'm going to be testing this model. Here is the model number. Food dehydrator LT85 100 watt, and they don't really have any identifying features to them, so that's it, the LT85. This one is not plugged in yet. This is a brand new unit, and I'm gonna start by taking all this packing material has to come off, and the tape we use to secure this shut. All this stuff needs to be removed. I don't even have it plugged in yet. What we're going to do is test this model before we use it to verify that the temperature control is working correctly. And most of these models here have children in the background. Thank you. Alright, so most of these models come with a tray. Here's the power cord for that. And sometimes they send a free recipe book and some paperwork. Not sure what this paper, we'll look at that in a minute. Here's a copy of that recipe book. I have a couple of models of this dryer, and they always send this recipe book. Comes with it. These pull out pretty easily, and they can just go into the dishwasher to be disinfected, ready for use before I use it. I'll show you what the inside of this. Everything just kind of sits on these little racks, and they're quite durable. They could take a lot of fruit. This is the little tray. That tray will be going there, but there's some plastic I need to take off of that. Okay, in the back of the dehydrator we have a fan and the coil, along with the electronics that go to the controls on the top of the model. And let's see here, got some padding to take off. And be very careful because these are actually quite sharp. You'll not have to mess with the inside of the door. It doesn't come into contact with anything. So it's not like anything splatters. You don't really have a whole lot of messes to contend with. So we've got that packing material off. The unit can run without the shelves. That's not going to be an issue. So I'm just going to go ahead and close that back up. And I'm going to go ahead and take all of this off. You just have to be really careful when you get to these. They can be quite sharp up underneath here. So try to just carefully remove all that. Okay, so I kind of fast forward through peeling a lot of this off. The last one we had did not have this peely stuff on the surface of it, and the temperature control module was not working right, and we didn't catch it until far later in the ownership of it. At first it just wasn't heating as well, and then toward the end there it was blasting heat so hot that the heater coil inside the unit was still going even after the power was cut off, and we had to return the unit. And so then I had to reorder another unit, and I was getting these off of Amazon, and the other unit was lost in shipping, and so then I had to put in an order for this unit. Getting the last of this stuff off because you don't want to run the unit with any plastic on it. Right. Okay, so we got this stuff off of the face. Okay, so we're back. So one of the tools that I'm going to use to test is one of these little heat guns that you can get, and all you have to do is squeeze it and it'll tell you what temperature it is at whatever given point. The model is not on right now. This is the ambient temperature of the house. We're getting kind of warm today, so this is ambient temperature. I'm going to show you what came in this packet here. In this packet we've got a cord and okay, great. We got a little handle thing that goes on the face of this. A free 5 pieces of something. Anti-sticking, easier to clean. Oh, little wax strips. Okay, that's good to know. This time we got a certificate of the quality inspector, I guess, sticker. Okie dokie. And we get a little fruit dehydrating family. Please read carefully. This came with my first unit, but not the second unit, but I bought the same model, so I already had this information. Warranty card, keep it properly. I don't know. This is a funny read though. This is not written in English. Some of the way they write is kind of backwards. Warranty card, keep it properly, as opposed to improperly, so make a note of that, folks. This little handle just screws in the front. Got 2 screws and a handle. So I got the handle. I'm going to tighten that up with a screwdriver. It's just a matter of putting the handle up and installing the little screws on the back, which I just tightened with my fingers. And what I'm going to do now, I am going to test this unit at 30 degrees Celsius, which is supposed to give me 86 degrees, and then I will test it from there. And what we're looking for is just that the unit comes up to temp, that it is able to maintain temp, and then we're wanting to know if we turn it off, does this coil stay red or does it turn off? Our last unit, that stayed red when the fan was off, and as long as that coil's red, that's red hot. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. Okay, so I went ahead and I plugged in the unit. It plugs in the back here and just simply to the wall. So what I'm going to do here, shut this door. Okay, and so what I'm going to do here is, that's its default of what it wants to start at. This one's the time. You could tell it an hour. I usually run my machines a long time. Oops. My bad. So I'll tell it 24 hours by pressing the down arrow. Temp right now is at 45. This is going to be a little hotter than what I want, but let's look inside real fast. I can smell the heat. You know, like new heaters smell, but the coil isn't red, but I can smell it. And it's supposed to be quiet like that. A very nice new unit right here. Okay. I'm going to dial this down just a little, because I'm looking for that constant temperature. And I mean, right now, this is not going to be a good read. You see that coil gets hot in there. The coil has to get hot to get the rest of the area in here warm. So we're going to let this sit for a few moments. And also the outside of the unit will get warm to the touch depending on what you're doing. See, I went from the ambient temperature to 82. So it looks like it's empty, so it's going to come to temperature very fast. This isn't going to be accurate. This is the outside of the machine. This machine can get quite hot. I don't run my machines very hot. I'd rather a long dry to preserve my color rather than a fast dry where you're just cooking things in there. So that's not what we want to do. I'm going to hang out for 5 minutes and then I'm going to come back and see what the internal temperature is with you. Okay, I am back. And let's see. This has stayed room temperature pretty much. Let's see, is that the number we need? We need 93 on the walls. So that's pretty cool. Okay. So this one's supposed to be 86 degrees, but we're coming up 96 inside. I'm probably going to have to test with a load of fruit in it. But the temperature should be 86 degrees inside. And so we're still running a little warm. Okay, next part of my test, maybe it's just that I don't have fruit in here. And this is, you know, you want to check and make sure that it's going to properly function. For the next part of my test, I'm going to turn the unit off. This is what happens. So, normally, what will happen is the fan will run for a little while to cool down that coil. And then the total unit should be off at that point. So the fan is going to continue, and according to the manufacturer, the fan will continue for 5 minutes. After that point, the coil that is around the fan there, this object here, should start to cool off. If the fan, and see, that's something that we can literally watch the temperature drop on that one. If the fan stops and this continues to get hot, it continues to get red, then we have a problem. Because off is off. Not off is this running without the fan running and overheating and creating a dangerous situation. So that's the big deal. Now, as far as just calibrating for exact temperature, there's nothing in here to really combat with. I would imagine that it should be 86 degrees is what it should be. I have another unit I can try and see if I can compare. Okay, this is my other unit. It's set to 30 at the moment. I just had it set to 35. This one has a load of fruit in it. That's bizarre. Should be 86 degrees in there. Well, hell. So, these, I guess, run a little hotter, but it hasn't created any bad problems or anything like that. Or it just might still be warm from being 35 degrees. Let me verify what this is supposed to look like. Okay. So I verified it. I don't deal with Celsius, and that's the thing with these, is they deal with Celsius, and it takes some getting used to. But the temperature should be 95. This one's just a little bit warm. Not a high crime. I've never really had any issues with the fruit. So 35 Celsius, and we're coming at squarely 100, near 100, and I have the door open, so okay. So they run a little warm, but that's okay usually for drying fruit and such. I tend to hover at the 30, 35, 40, maybe 45. So back over here, we have this dryer, and the fan has turned off, and the coil is getting cool now. It's still going to stay warm for a little while, but this is basically almost the temperature I had when I unpackaged it. It's maybe 6 degrees higher. So the coil is off and we are safe, we're good to go. If this coil, my other machine, the coil was staying on and it was over 260 degrees, and that machine had to be returned. This machine seems to be doing okay. I'm going to test it with some fruit in it like I demonstrated with my other machine. And if we come to about anywhere between 86 to 90 degrees with 30 Celsius, it'll be fine. It won't burn my fruit. Everything will be great. But the big red flag is if this was red and glowing and not cooling, as you see it's cooling, and if it was 250 or 300 degrees like my other unit, then you would have to unplug the unit to turn it off, and that's an unsafe unit and not one that you would want to keep. This unit looks like it's going to do good. I'm going to test it with a load of fruit for the first time. I know it's a new unit. It had all the stickers on it. The other one that I had to return came with no stickers. I was kind of like, oh. So now we know. It needs to come with the booklet and the shrink wrap from the manufacturer and whatnot, or you don't know if you're getting a return or whatnot. They do refurbish them. They do sell refurbished models, so I don't know if a mistake was made or whatnot. But even if you choose a refurbished model, you might want to go ahead and test it the way I did. And if your numbers come out like these today, I think you're okay. Again, if this is still on after the unit is turned off and this one is off, if this is still hot, now it takes a while for this to cool down, but if this is 200 or 300 or 250 like my other machine was while the machine is off, and when the machine is off, the fan is not going and it's just waiting at attention. So if your machine reads like this, that means it's off, and all of this should be off, and this coil should be cooling. If it's on, then the fan will proceed to run. Your fan should always run when the coil's on. That's how the machine works. And if not, your machine's going to overheat and possibly present a hazard. The sides of the machine can get hot. They do tell you that. I don't run my machine so hot that that's ever an issue for me. But some people might be making some other things that require higher heat. So today was a success. Thank you for watching. Sorry that I had some testing difficulties. Not good at making videos, but we're working on that too. But at least we got a good test out of this machine. I'm feeling very positive about it. This is, get yourself one of these temp guns. They're great around the kitchen. They're great for testing equipment. It's just a little gun I bought off of Amazon. I think we had to put batteries in it, and the batteries have lasted like forever. So it gets you a little gun so that you can just shoot and know what temperature things are. And I really do like these machines. They're a fine machine. I like that the screens are easy to clean, and they really put out some quality fruit if you get your temperatures right and just watch what you're doing. They really have a good capacity. I would say that you could produce 1 pound to 1.5 pounds per load of fruit here, if I was to venture to guess. They're lightweight, easy to set up, easy to move if you need to move locations, easy to clean. Stainless steel can be annoying. You have to keep it clean, wiped off and whatnot. But I like this better than the countertop. The countertop model tends to overcook fruit. Here you have more control. And you can set the temperature lower, and it'll take longer, but the color, the vibrancy is great. So I would definitely recommend this one. Just be sure to test it as I have. Once you see that everything is the way you saw with this particular model as an example, you're good to go. Okay, 20-minute video over. I hope you enjoyed.